Hey YouTube, this is Scarecrow Kaiser. I am going to do a deck profile for you. I've been meaning to do this for a couple days, but I got a little behind. And then coincidentally, when I woke up this morning, Conroe got banned. So I guess it's a perfect time to do a Dauntless Kagero deck profile. So it'll actually be like very up to date. So yeah, to get started, starting Vanguard is Red Pulse Draco Kid. He's your typical clone of a grade 3 searcher. Yeah, he just helps you not misride, helps you get off your break ride slash cross ride. Generally, you like a grade 3 searcher isn't very bad in any deck that break rides. So yeah. As alternatives to him, you could run the Dragon Knight, who will blow up a card when a card gets blown up. And there's also what's their face, but I prefer Red Pulse Draco Kid. For the triggers, we got 8 crit, 4 draw. My draw of choice being the Seal Dragon, because I really like its skill. It's not a counterblast, and it can give you +3 wherever you want while moving to the soul, which this effect is a very, very useful skill. This effect often leads to a game, so that's why it's my draw trigger of choice. Gatling Claw's like a good draw trigger, but the only deck I really like Gatling Claw is anything where I'm running Cruel Dragon, so most of the time I prefer this guy. And last we have our 4 heals. That it for the grade 0s. For the grade 1s, we got our 4 perfect guards. For Gojo, Gojo is our drop and draw, which is just a very solid skill, very useful, helping the deck be consistent. He's a 7k, and you can combo him off with Dauntless Reverse, where you use his skill, and then since you can't boost within that turn, you lock him for the cost of Dauntless, so you get to utilize both. Then we got 4 of our 10k beater. Yeah, I think we've proven by now that 10k beaters are very good. So, and then our last grade 1, we got 2 of our Soul Blast 2 Draw guy. I've really much liked this card. I wish I could have had this card a lot sooner on in Kagero. This card is very good. It was a little bit better when I could just search it off of Conroe, but I still like it at only 2. You don't want to. You can only really. You don't really want to do. You can only use it at most like twice a game, and you don't really want to even do that. So 2 seems to be the perfect number, I think. For our grade 2s, we got 2 Berserk Dragons, or 3 Berserk Dragons. My bad. Yeah, he's not an amazing card in this deck, but he's a pretty good card. This deck is a counterblast heavy deck, but nothing counterblasts a lot at once. He's the most counterblast heavy card in the deck. That's why we're only running 3. Usually only use him like once a game, sometimes 2 maybe, but usually only once. And because of this deck, the way you really want to utilize him is probably blowing up something in the front row, since your Dauntless is going to blow up their back row. So, and then we got 4 of our 12k attackers. Just like the grade 1, 12ks have proven their usefulness in this game. I love when my opponent puts a 7k out early game, then I drop this and swing for 12 at their 7 for an easy advantage. And then for our last grade 2, I've got 4 10ks. At first, when I built the deck, I wanted to play Bellicosity, but then I realized that because this deck, because it is Kagero is counterblast heavy, but so it seemed intuitive to play it, but in the long scheme of things, the deck has kind of like his perfect counterblast ratios, so I found Bellicosity to not necessarily be as good as I want, and there were games where when I rode Bellicosity turn 2, I had to use Red Pulse that turn. I didn't have a booster for him, so yeah. I went with the 10k, seeing as how I didn't feel like there were much better options, so I might as well just go for the defense and power. And then for our grade 3s, we got our 4 Dauntless. I've never, like, Dauntless is a pretty cool card, but I've never felt like he was, like, quite clicked very well with what you paired him up with. Like, there's obviously things like Novell and Dote, but, like, although it was good, I don't feel like it quite clicked. And in this deck with his reverse break ride, I feel like it very, very much clicks. Like, I've never got so much synergy. Like, it's absolutely perfect with him. Like, I have zero complaints. I've had like things in the past, like Dauntless and Dope was okay. Even Dauntless Novell is like obviously very threatening, but it wasn't quite what I wanted, as you've seen from the way I like to play my Novell decks. But Novell or Dauntless really, really clicks for me. This deck is actually very, very good. I've done very well against like almost everything I've play tested against. I haven't got to play test against Novell yet, but pretty much every other matchup I've play tested against, this deck has kind of just like wrecked them. So I really like this deck. Yeah. So thank you for watching.